So, hi Lynn, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you so much for joining me on my live today. Um, and I'm going to be doing a few more lives going forward because it's something that I need to get better at. I need to become more visible and I need to basically share what I do so that I can help more of you beautiful people out there. So, those who don't know me, I'm Julie Fitzpatrick and I'm the founder of Middleside Therapy and Coaching, and I support women in the prime of their lives to basically become unstoppable and to live their life with purpose and passion. Oh, hi, we've been joined by the lovely Emma as well.
I
Hi,
made
Emma.
it.
Thank you so much for joining.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Woo!
A bit
I'm so
technically
pleased.
challenged.
Oh,
we're all
brilliant.
new to this, aren't we? We're all new to this technology, and this is why we have to come out of our comfort zones. And just because we're a little bit older ladies and we're in the prime of our lives doesn't mean we can't do this stuff, does it? Because we've proved that it doesn't matter. There's no boundaries around age. We can do what we like when we want, can't we?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
The world is our oyster.
So Emma, before you joined, I was just telling the audience that basically I support women in the prime of their lives to become unstoppable. And I've learnt that when I hit my 50s that I need to make some changes in my life because I'm done doing what I'm doing and I'm just not living, basically. I'm not living from here, and that's what we need to do. And these two beautiful ladies that I have on this call with me have very kindly come to join me to share some of their experiences. And we've met on some therapy and coaching training that we're all doing, and we're all like-minded women. We're women entrepreneurs who are making changes in our lives because we got to the point, as I said earlier, that now's the time to make changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask these ladies some questions and we're just going to have a conversation, and we just really want to put it out there to see if there's anyone else really who is suffering, and then you can find out how I can help you. So ladies, my first question to you. You are both beautiful women who are in the prime of your lives, but I just wondered what has been your biggest challenges, would you say, to actually get to where you are right now? And I'll go to Lynn first. Lynn, would you like to share your feelings on that?
Yeah, I think the challenges are actually identifying what I want in life, because being a mum and looking after I've got three boys, looking after what they wanted and prioritising their their my priority of work, then all of a sudden I've got this time where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. But I do
Mm,
know that working with people and helping them feel better is part of it. But I didn't feel better at some points because with the menopause and how that made me feel physically, I was struggling with low self-worth, low moods, and so I had to do a lot of work on myself as well
mm,
to get to that point. So yeah, anxiety, depression have been part and parcel of the menopausal journey, which wasn't something that was a highlight of my life, but
no.
a big, and obviously a big challenge, and obviously challenge makes changes, and so we can move forward now. Um,
And did you realise, Lynn, that at the time that you were actually going through the symptoms of the peri or the menopause, because you're experiencing those different feelings that you have, but did you know that was a lot of the reasons for it?
Not particularly, no, but I think there was quite a few people were telling me that I was menopausal enough for me to realise.
Mm,
Yeah, there was other people telling me, and also the hot flushes were horrendous because at night time it just stopped me from sleeping. So
mm,
I had to do something about that, and obviously went on
mm,
it, which was an absolute lifesaver. But
yeah.
still, some of the things about getting old is feeling the pains of life, such as losing people more regularly because of the age that you are. Um,
Mm,
you know, there's joys in life. Obviously, having grandchildren and things like that is absolutely amazing.
Mm. Thanks, darling. So, Emma, what about you? What would you say your challenges have been, your biggest challenges really, once you found yourself in the prime of your life?
I think very, very similar to what Lyn's been saying, is that you reach a certain age, sort of in your 50s, and your children are starting to leave home. Similarly to Lyn, I brought up 3 boys, absolutely joyous part of my life. But I think as I've got older, and I'm now realizing the effects of menopause, I didn't really know what menopause was. I just found that my strategy of just doing wasn't really working anymore. I haven't got the energy that I had, and also being in a position to start thinking, oh, I give to everybody else, and realizing I hadn't been giving to myself, and I was getting empty, and needing a new strategy, because I just couldn't carry on doing that anymore.
And that's what I've found a lot with my clients, and this is why I've chosen this kind of niche, really, because it's really what happened to me as well. When, you know, different decades of your life, you're making big decisions, big changes. But what I found with my clients, it's a very similar pattern, and that's what I've been building my therapy and coaching around, really, because I've noticed that the biggest impact that they have is around their mental health. So your anxiety levels and stress levels are increasing, because obviously your hormones are all over the place. You're basically going back to be a teenager again, aren't you? So within that mindset environment, then you've got the lack of self-confidence, lack of belief, procrastination, self-sabotage, all that beautiful stuff that seems to just really come together in droves as you get to that kind of age. And then I've also been finding that they've been noticing it a lot in their physical conditions, because as we know as therapists, that if we don't release our feelings and emotions, then we store them. And we store them in physical conditions in our bodies, in skin conditions, autoimmune diseases, arthritis even. And then because you're doing all that, and I'm a woman from the corporate world, right? I've lived and worked since I was 16 in the corporate world, and I got to a point where I had brain fog, lack of sleep, and I couldn't cope anymore. And then it made me feel useless and worthless, and I found that a lot of that's happening with the women that I'm working with. And sometimes they're in that position where they work, but they can't do it anymore, and they feel like they should quit their job. Or I've got women who maybe are suffering now from maybe empty nest syndrome, because the kids have all grown up and moved away.
Yeah.
So there's different elements to that, isn't there? And I think you ladies have kind of gone on that journey too, haven't you, about your career and where you want to be now?
Yeah, it's about identity, isn't it? You're forming a new identity, and letting go of some of who you were was the different roles that you had in your life. And then there's this void, and there's a lot of anxiety around that. It's like, oh, who am I? What, you know, and confidence to be something else.
And I think that where we lose, where we've been like confident women, we've been doing the job. Like if you've been a mum and you've been bringing up your children and you've done a fantastic job, but now they don't need you so much. It's like, well, who am I then? I've lost that. You're not going to lose the fact that you're a mother, but the job that you were doing is just not there anymore, and you've got that hole, that gap, haven't you, that you need to fill. What about you, Lyn? How do you feel on that subject?
Yeah, I feel very similar to you both, really, that I just, you know, just needed to find me and know exactly what I wanted to do. It's quite worrying, you know, sort of. It felt like how everything was coming in on me, and I've got no energy to be able to be who I want to be.
And it's that increased overwhelm, isn't it? I used to sit at my desk and I'd like doing something that I've done a lot and quite experienced in, and I'd sit there and I don't even know what to do. And I'd sit and stare at my desk because I just couldn't function.
Yeah.
And then that's embarrassing, isn't it? Because I can remember sitting in meetings, working with people that I've worked with for a long time, and I'm in there thinking, I can't even remember your name. And then you're trying to feel a way how you can ask them a question without having to use their name because you can't remember. The good thing about Zoom now, actually, when I do a lot of meetings on Zoom, you've got people's names at the bottom, so that's really quite helpful. But it's just, so many women as well, and I don't know, ladies, if you felt like this, that you thought you had dementia at times because you're like...
It's good that people are starting to have conversations, Julie, like we're having this conversation now, because you think it's just you. You don't realise that actually it's to do with the menopause and changes in your body with your hormones. So even knowing that you're not alone with it means that you can sort of start thinking there's something you can do about it, and it doesn't affect your self-esteem quite as badly.
No. You start being kind to yourself and stop giving yourself a hard time for not remembering. And then once you're not remembering, sometimes when you let go of it, it comes back to you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's harder to find when you sort of panic and thinking, what do I say? I have to say it without saying the name, and then all of a sudden the name comes to you, doesn't it?
That's so true, isn't it? When you're in the shower and you have those eureka moments, and apparently that's because your chakras are opening. That's what I've been learning. I thought, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, ladies, let me ask you another question then. And I think, Lyn, you touched on it earlier, that I think when we get to the prime of our lives, we put everybody else first, don't we? And we put ourselves last. And as a result of that, we then end up suffering from these things even more, don't we? The self-sabotage, the procrastination, because we don't want to look inside ourselves. We don't want to, we're deflecting. And that's what us therapists are good at as well, isn't it? When we are healers and we want to help people, but when we have to start looking at ourselves, that's when we're like, hang on, push back a little bit. What are your thoughts on that, ladies?
Yeah, it's been sometimes I think having your own medicine and actually looking at helping yourself is the most difficult thing, actually being kind to yourself. I mean, you practice it with your clients, you tell them to be kind to yourself, and then you find yourself giving yourself such a harsh, critical inner dialogue, giving yourself a hard time because of the things that you've said, like, remembering, feeling tired, not having as much energy. You give yourself a hard time about it.
So, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I think it makes me more aware of some of the conditioning that we get as young girls, as women, to be the carers. And then as you get older and you need more care yourself, and you realise that you've been giving everything to everybody else, and you need to turn around and start doing the same for yourself because you're getting older.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely that analogy with the aeroplane, isn't it? When the mast drops, put it on yourself. And this is what I say to my clients all the time. You've got to put yourselves first. And their natural defence to that is, yeah, but I can't because I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And then they call me. But if you don't look after yourself, then in the end, you're going to become ill. Yeah. You're going to be potentially suffering from physical conditions if you're not already doing so. Or your anxiety, stress, and all that's just going to keep on increasing till you get to a point where you're not any good to anyone, are you? And what's the point of that?
Yeah, even if your only purpose in life was to be a caring machine, if you don't give it any maintenance, it breaks down, and then no one gets cared for, do they?
Exactly. But you have to have your boiler fixed, don't you? So it's the same with us.
Exactly. But we get conditioned, Julie, I think, into that being selfish.
Yes.
Learning that it's not about being selfish, it's about having self-interest, and then you can give other people from the overflow, really.
Yeah, really good point. Yeah. So one of the other questions I wanted to ask you ladies is that I think as we get older as women, there's a lot of expectation gets put on us about how we look and how we should be, especially if you're a mum, about what your children might say about you. And actually, Lyn, I'm going to definitely come to you about that one in your little story we were talking about earlier. But how do you feel about that, Emma? How has it impacted you as you've got older about how you feel that you should look and act and behave?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's the whole piece about how you feel about yourself getting older, and you know, the wrinkles come, and putting on weight again, menopause related. It becomes harder to you're shown all the time these images of, you know, how you should be, and if you look in the mirror and that's not what you see, you have to work harder to validate your beauty inside. And accept that aging process gracefully. Not
Absolutely.
easy to do.
It's not easy to do, but we're doing it right. We're putting ourselves out there now, and we know that we've got the skills to help people, but overcoming our fears of doing things like this, we just have to do it. And the more we push, I mean, I can't even comprehend how in the last year even, how far I've pushed myself. I didn't know a year ago I'd be doing this. You know, I'm speaking on a stage in December at an event at Queens in Business. I'm at an awards night that night where I've been nominated. So I hope everyone's been voting for me, because it'd be amazing to do that. And I've got some other things that are coming up for me in the new year about being visible. I didn't know that as what I should be doing. I didn't know that's what I wanted to be doing. But you know what? I've started saying yes to things now instead of saying no, and it just makes such a difference. You know, it just opens you out to more experience and more fun.
Yeah.
But Lynn, just going back to you on that last question then about being a woman in the prime of your life, how the expectations of getting old has impacted you.
Well, certainly my lads are definitely wanting me to be the age that I am. Well, they encourage me to be a young at heart person, and I certainly don't want to grow old gracefully. I'm definitely growing old gracefully. And when I was 60, I had a celebration at 80s doing Butlins, and I let my boys choose my outfit for the Saturday, and I was a police officer in a previous life, and so they bought me an outfit as a police officer, and everybody else that was in the group was dressed up as either criminals or with a mask on, or orange prisoner outfits. And they got me the set, and it came with a short skirt. So before I went on this weekend, they said, "Mum, take a pair of black trousers for your Saturday outfit." So I did. And then there was this mini skirt in the outfit, and I put it on, and they were going, "Mom, you've got to put your trousers on. You can't be going out in a mini skirt." No. So the expectation is that I should grow old a little bit more gracefully than I'm intending to.
But you're just not doing that though, right? You are going to go get old disgracefully, because I think that's same
And
here.
every moment and live in the moment. And you know, I'm a great believer in every wrinkle's got a story. So as much as I've got wrinkles, I've got character, and the wrinkles are my character, and they're part of me.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's all part of your roadmap, isn't it?
Less and less, because I don't want too many. But I think, you know, to have the Botox and everything that people are having now is all well and good, but I'm not one to put lots of toxins into my body. So it's not somewhere where I want to go that route. So definitely, you know, what you see is what you get. Authenticity is my thing, rather than being and I don't disagree with people having those things, because I think, you know, everybody has their own reasons, and I don't disagree with anybody having it, but it's not my way.
And I think I think even like famous women in the acting world, it's okay for the guys, you know, George Clooney, to be with his grey hair and stuff. It's to be distinguished. Is that the right word? Distinguished. But for a woman, you wouldn't do that, because it's just not acceptable, is it, for these famous people? And it is quite sad. But I think
it's the likes of Helen Mirren and Judi Dench. I don't think they particularly do it.
No.
And I think that's appreciated a lot by men as well, because my other half loves those two. So definitely something that we've got to start realising. We have beauty, we have power, and we have potentially got such a lot of worldly wise knowledge to share with everybody. It's a shame that we at our age don't, you know, more of us don't get on that and realise how much we've got to offer the younger females. And
Absolutely, that's a really good point, Lynn. I really love that. Yeah, and I think, yeah. Sorry, Em, what was you going to say?
No more hiding.
No more hiding, exactly right. And I think that's a really good message for all us women in the prime of our lives, right? It doesn't, age is just but a number, okay? I think everything always used to be, didn't it? Life begins at 40. But now I'm in my 50s. I'm like, bugger that. Life begins at 50 now. Because that's when I decided to change my career from being in the corporate world all those years. I mean, those that know me already know that I've made the leap of faith, or making the leap of faith, because in December I'm leaving my corporate job forever to go and live my life with purpose and passion, serving all you beautiful people out there. And on the back of that, I've been investing a lot of time and effort in myself, and really, you know, trying to find all the different skills that I can help you beautiful women out there. And I'm continuing to learn all the time. I'm continuing to grow my business. And one thing that I do have every other Thursday at the moment is a free webinar, and it's called Become Unstoppable in the Prime of Your Life. I've only got a few more left now before Christmas, but click in my bio, and in there you'll see a link that you can register for my free webinar, and I'd love to see you there. And in that session, the whole point of it really is to try and get a group of you beautiful women in there together, and then I'll teach you strategies on how you can become unstoppable. You know, different breathing techniques, different thing. We talk about different things really, but just as a group, just to build your confidence. And so, as I say, the whole point of it is you're a woman in the prime of your life, and I want to help you to become unstoppable, because life is too short, and now is our time, ladies. No more messing around, no more just doing everything for everybody else. It's time for us, and you want to be living from your heart, not from your head and anywhere else. Your heart comes first. So on that note, Lynn, have you got any last points you'd like to raise?
No, just I think it's a great thing to be involved with you, Julie, because it's such a great message that you're giving out there. And being unstoppable is giving people in the prime of their life to know that it's not the end, it's just the beginning. And
beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful.
Emma?
Same, just we all need to shine our lights and get out there and you know, be our beautiful selves.
And thank you everyone who's joined us on this live. And I don't know if you heard it at the beginning, but it's the first one that any of us have really done. And we're putting ourselves out there. And I asked for some volunteers, and these beautiful ladies put their hands up straight away. They've never done it before. Being visible for them is so outside their comfort zone. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining me. And thank you for everyone that's joined as well. Hope you've enjoyed it.